Every field that is in an ACT database is fully definable for what that field can do for you and for the database. But don't panic, because most of the default definitions are going to be just fine for most companies. But it's still important to understand how these fields are defined, because you may want to make some changes. You may want to customize them for your own company. So, for example, this phone field, notice that it has a little block next to it which has 3 dots in it called an ellipsis. So what we're going to do is we're going to click on the ellipsis, and notice then that it allows us to set the formatting of the phone number for whatever country, for whatever format. We can even edit the formats for a particular country. But where did all that information come from? How did that particular field know to have the ellipsis which connected to the phone information? Well, it knows because it's defined as a phone field. Another example, a website. A website is defined with a what? Hopefully you said a URL, a uniform resource locator, or a web address. Now, how does that website field know that it's looking for a web address? Well, it knows because it's defined that way. So we define the field as to what type of information it's looking for, and then also what it can do when we put in information. First, we're going to take a look at how a field is defined for what type of information it's looking for. And what we're going to do is we're going to go up to the menu, and we're going to click on Tools and then on Define Fields. And ACT will bring up the Define Fields dialog box and basically ask us, okay, did you want to view fields then for contacts, or for companies, or for groups, or for opportunities? Now we're going to focus on contacts, but you should know that you can tweak these fields for all of the different aspects of your database. So for example, let's take a quick look at the phone field. So we're just going to scroll up to where it says phone, double click on it, and notice that the field name is phone, but also the default data type is phone. That's how it knows. Now, in this particular case, we can't really change it. ACT says, well, that's what it's supposed to be. You change the format of the phone on this one. But that's not the only field, obviously. So let's click on Cancel here to get out of that. And then let's take a look at something like, for example, spouse. Now, notice that the field name is spouse and the default type is character. But if it were something else, if we wanted to change, maybe we don't want to keep track of spouse, but where spouse is, we want to later define with a layout that we want to use that space for something besides spouse. Well, if we want to do that, then what we'll do is define that particular field in the database as whatever we want it to be. Currency, decimal, initial caps, lowercase, memo, a number, uppercase, a web address of some sort. So as you can see, we can make those changes. And when we make those changes to how a field is defined, then that's the first step toward customizing that field. Again, we're going to talk about how we would continue that change, or how we complete that change, when we look at layout design. But the first thing is understanding the fields and how we make these changes. We can also set customized field behavior. In other words, field behavior means what are we going to allow a field to do? And we'll talk about customizing field behavior in our next section.